I'm going to take a quick thing of water. Do you have water? Do you need to use the restroom? Anything?
I'm good. I prepped. I got some coconut water. It's not real coconut water, but it's like fake. It's close enough.
It's electrolyte enough. It's enough-a-lite. There you go.
It tastes fun and fruity and like it's a pina colada, but like a juice box version of it.
I can sort of imagine it, but also like I think I would just rather have the regular pina colada.
Oh no, me too. But like I just don't have those.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Gamers Gab, the podcast by gamers for gamers. I'm Artsy from the Artsy Gamer. I make art, I play games, and I encourage others to do the same. And joining me today for the episode revolving around chronic illness and being cute, we are joined by the one, the only Peyton from Peyton's Corner, who is a fellow Animal Crossing and other indie game content creator. So Peyton, before we get started with today's episode, if you would, give us a nice little introduction about your adorable self and your pronouns, please, and thank you.
The adorable self. Stop. That's you.
Never.
Accurate. But hi, everyone. My name is Payton. My YouTube channel is called Peyton's Corner, not to be confused with Peyton's Straight Line or Peyton's Curvy Line. It is Peyton's Corner. I play lots of cozy games in a chaotic way. I live in New York City. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm 23 years old. And yeah, I am what I like to call chronically ill and cute. I have stage 4 endometriosis, which I like to call a chronic pain condition specifically, but it is a chronic illness or an invisible illness. You can use those terms, whatever is more comfortable for you. But for me, I like to use chronically ill or chronic pain condition. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. I definitely had like the super list of people that I wanted to have on Gamers Gab. And since I've met you, I'm like, oh, we need to have Peyton on here to tell her story. So
oh, thank you.
Yeah, so let's get right into it. So living with a chronic invisible illness not only impacts your everyday life, but the time and energy that goes into content creation, including the way that you have presented yourself on YouTube. And I don't know if you talk about living with stage 4 endometriosis on Twitter and on Instagram, and I don't tick up the talk, so I don't know if you tick up the talk, but
a little bit, kind of, not really.
Okay. I don't. I don't know. So what is the link that binds chronic illness to content creation for you and Peyton's Corner? Basically your origin story.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think this channel would exist had I not have found out I had stage 4 endometriosis and had to go through surgery and all of that lovely, great stuff. But pretty much what went down was in the year 2020, when Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, I was like 2 months late to the party. It came out in March. I started playing in May, and it was for a lot of people, a lot of like craziness was going on. I was in a really bad, not so hot mental place. Mm-hmm. And it started a little bit before the pandemic. So I don't think I can blame like the pandemic made me sad. Like it didn't help, but I was going through this like unexplainable sadness all of a sudden. And I think for most of my life, I've always been very luckily, primarily, I would like to call myself like as happy as possible person. Mm-hmm. I feel like, you know, obviously I'm like a human being and I have emotions, but whenever I would be sad or angry or any, you know, sorry if you could hear the sirens, by the way.
It's okay.
Can you
live in New York. It's okay.
Yeah.
I know. It's okay.
All right. It's that. Do you want me to wait for them to stop? Or can you not even hear them?
I can hear them a little bit, but I don't think it's as loud as it is for you. So go ahead. You're
Probably. Fine. Okay. No worries. All right, yeah. Okay, wait, they're passing my window? But yeah, I always felt like whenever I was sad about things growing up, I was always able to find a way to get myself out of it and to distract myself with things that I love. Outside of YouTube, I'm a playwright and an actor, and so I would always just resort to theater as my way of being creative to help me get through sad things. But during this time in my life, for some reason, none of that was working. And I found Animal Crossing as this cute little wholesome thing. And at the time, I was living by myself. I was finishing out college, which was totally online for my last whole year and a half. And suddenly theater, the thing that I normally did to be creative, just didn't exist, or didn't exist in the same way, because it was like acting through Zoom or doing singing class through Zoom. So I found Animal Crossing, and it was something to get me distracted every day. And I was still dealing with a lot of like mental health issues, but it was helping me be distracted. And that continued for months and months and months until I eventually found Animal Crossing YouTube as a way of just like, I didn't know people in real life that played Animal Crossing, and it was taking up so much of my time, and it was bringing me so much joy. I just wanted to find someone to be like, hey, look at my island. So I didn't have to show my boyfriend 10 times a day every day, who tried his best to care. And then I was finishing college in 2021. I was finishing in May. And at this time, I was still dealing with that kind of mental turmoil. I didn't really know what the heck was going on. I graduated, and literally 1 week later, I was out and about shopping in an H&M in the middle of Times Square, the most public place in the world. And out of nowhere, I just got a very intense, like, stabbing pain in my abdomen. And I've always been the kind of person where I don't want to make a big deal about literally anything ever. So I was like, oh, it's fine. Like, maybe I just have cramps or something. Like, it'll stop. And then it didn't stop. And I was in the middle of this very public place, and I was like, I need to sit. And I sat there for, I think, 2 hours, and I was not able to move at all. And I didn't know what the heck was happening. And my boyfriend was like, should we take you to the hospital? Like, what's going on? And this whole time I'm like, no, I'm just being dramatic. I'm just being dramatic. I end up having to go to the hospital, and it's there that I find out I have stage 4 endometriosis, and I've been living with it probably ever since I hit puberty around like 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. And so at that moment, they told me that I had, also, do we need to do like a content warning?
I'll be putting a content warning up before with editing, so don't worry about it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try not to be like too crazy, but you know, I think it's important to know specifically like what happened, like as much as I can say, I guess.
So Peyton, just to pause for a minute. You don't feel like you have to censor yourself. I will put the proper content warnings, and honestly, if people can't handle it, they just don't need to watch. It's really okay. So whatever you feel you're comfortable talking about and how important it is to you, you do it, and I will do the rest. Okay,
thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, they told me that I had stage 4 endometriosis. I didn't know what the heck that was. I was like, what is that? And basically, the best way I like to describe endometriosis, there's like long scientific definitions you could read, but I like to describe it as individuals who are born with a uterus. They're supposed to shed the lining of their uterus every month, and that's your menstrual cycle or your period. What happens when you have endometriosis is that lining is not shed correctly. And so for me, what happens is instead of shedding that lining, it goes everywhere in your body, and it sticks to your organs. And it creates this like hard scar tissue layer over your major organs. And so for me, having stage 4 means that I have it in parts of my body that aren't necessarily as common as, you know, having it like on your ovaries is the most common. But I also have it all over my abdomen, all over my bladder, my bowels, and I had it all over my ovaries. So I also had endometriomas, which are pretty much cysts, but endometriosis. And the difference between an endometrioma and like a regular ovarian cyst is it's not something that could break. It's just like this scar tissue. It's solid. It's not something that could just break. So I had to have surgery to remove it. And I had to wait a month from the ER to the surgery. And I was pretty much bedridden. And in that time, all I did was watch Animal Crossing streams. I had started like trying to make Animal Crossing YouTube videos like here and there, just like for fun before that. but I didn't start watching streams really until I was in that interim between my surgery and at the ER and the surgery. And then I really saw like, oh, this is such like a fun thing. And it felt like I had friends there with me as I was going through this crazy thing. So then I had my surgery. I actually didn't know when I had the surgery that I had endometriosis all over my body. I thought I just had 4 cysts, which was already like bad enough. And I slowly realized that this problem wasn't going to go away. It was going to be something that I would live with for the rest of my life. And, you know, you're chronically ill now. Guess what? I bet you weren't expecting that. But while it was a really horrible experience, as soon as I had the surgery, I suddenly wasn't having that bout of unexplainable sadness anymore. And I found that it was linked due to a really bad hormonal imbalance. And so once I had my surgery and got the proper care I needed, while I was sad about my current situation, I wasn't not feeling like myself anymore. And so I felt like the most motivated to do something creative than I had in a long time. But being that I couldn't like get up out of my bed, I couldn't go and do theater anymore. And I saw so many streamers specifically, and I was like, well, I play that game. What if I try to do that? And maybe that'll be something fun. And so I gave it a go. My first time on Twitch, believe it or not.
You were a Twitch streamer, Peyton?
For one day. It did not go well. But for the first time, because I didn't know you could stream on YouTube. I thought you had to be like monetized to stream on YouTube. Like I don't know why I thought that. So I was already making like Happy Home Paradise videos and stuff just in my free time for fun. But I tried to do a stream on Twitch, which is actually still uploaded to my YouTube channel. You could see how horrible it was. But it was too early for me to try to start streaming. I was in so much pain, I couldn't do it. I couldn't sit there. I did sit there. I made it through it, but I was in so much pain. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm never going to stream again. Great. This isn't for me. And then I just kept making like Happy Home Paradise videos and just making other Animal Crossing silly little fun builds. But I continued to watch more and more streamers. And I continued to be like, no, wait, I think I could do this. So after a few months, I started my first YouTube stream in January. And I have not stopped streaming since then. And I don't think I would have started the channel unless all of this happened, because I would have been actively trying to pursue other creative endeavors. And while I still have the hopes to do other creative endeavors with theater and things like that, I think what's been so great about streaming and making YouTube is I can do it from home. So I don't need to worry about putting the turmoil on my body and going out into the world and worrying about like getting stuck somewhere, like getting stuck like I was that time in H&M and having something scary big like that happen again. It's like I can be creative from my chair and kind of at my own terms and my own pace. And so that's kind of how it all started. And I'm almost grateful in a way, because now it's like my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. It's not in any way the same, but I can absolutely understand the sentiment where having a really bad traumatic experience led to something really beautiful and creative. And I have to say that watching you blossom as a content creator has been truly a delight. And Peyton's Corner is just, it sounds so cozy. Were you always Peyton's Corner, or did it become Peyton's Corner?
I always called it Peyton's Corner, and I actually like my social medias before the YouTube channel were Peyton's Corner as well, just because I don't know, just there's something about a corner that it just feels like this is my specific thing. I like things that are specific. Like even like when I play Animal Crossing or when I do other games too, I like to do things that are as specific as possible. So to me, something about like, I don't want to try to be anybody else. So this is my corner. This is what it looks like. This isn't like, you know, I'm just trying to be myself and whatever that exists for me. And right now, maybe that's Animal Crossing. And next month, maybe that's Coral Island. And maybe next month, it's something crazy and weird. But I didn't want to define it, because it was just, this is the place I'm going to go to distract me from being in pain every day. And how taxing that could be, and how easy it is to go back to a darker place mentally.
Yeah.
This is like just a nice place to go. It feels almost like I'm going to a place, like having it be a corner, like a location. Like I'm going to my place, it's my happy place, and it's going to be okay here.
That's amazing. Thankfully, this episode is going to be published after Kuri Dune, who was like, I want to see Payton on Gamers Gab, because how you always start. Yeah, no, I was like, well, good luck. Luckily for us, that was already planned. I know. So, and she was telling me that what she loved most about your content is that you come about it unabashedly honest, in that, you know, you start every stream talking about the fact that you are chronically ill and cute. And so I think what a great segue to this is that you have truly the most adorable slogan. I mean, unfortunately, it has chronic illness involved, but it is so delightfully catchy and honest and compassionate. So how did Chronically Ill and Cute come about, and what makes it more than just a slogan for you?
Yeah, it's funny because I actually looked back at my first stream the other day, because I'm coming up at like my 1 year of streaming. So I was like, oh, what did it? I know, right? I was like, I can't believe it. So I was like, oh, what did it like used to look like? Like, what did I sound like? And from every single stream I've ever done, I've always mentioned I have a chronic illness at the start. However, I didn't start saying I was chronically ill and cute for a little bit into the channel. It's funny because I think it started out as an apology. I think it started out as me being like, I'm so sorry. There's something wrong with me. And in case I need to stop the stream or get up, I'm so sorry. And it turned into, I think, as like more people started to watch my channel, and it wasn't just me. It's easy to just talk to yourself and be like negative, but you don't want to be negative all the time, especially for other people. So as other people were coming in and as they were getting to know me, I realized I didn't like saying, oh yeah, I have a chronic illness. Sorry. Because I feel like there's just so much negativity around people who speak about chronic illness. I know specifically after my surgery, I joined a lot of endometriosis support groups, and it was so hard, and I had to leave every single one and unfollow every single one, because every time I would open my feed, it would just be people talking about all the bad stuff. And I'd never seen people kind of be, I don't want to say nonchalant about it, but being like, hey, I have a chronic illness. Okay, cute. Moving on. Let's go do something else. Rather than it being like, welcome to my chronic illness channel, where all I do is talk about the tough times of being chronically ill. I wanted it to be like, hey, this is a thing, and I think it's important to acknowledge, not only just in case I need to end the stream, but it is what I say now. I always say, like, I'm chronically ill and cute. I like to let you know this so I can be my most comfortable self during the streams, because I want you to be your most comfortable self. So that takes an ease off of my shoulders if something happens during the stream and I need to stop it, or I need to take a break. It makes me feel as though this isn't coming out of left field. I don't necessarily need to disclose it, but it makes me feel I am being my most authentic self, and like I don't have to hide the fact that I'm in pain, and that even though I like to think I'm a very energetic person, if I have a moment where I need to like take a second, it's like I'm kind of telling you why and letting you in on it. And the chronically ill and cute was just because I started out telling people I was chronically ill, and people were like, oh, my sick queen. Like, oh, we love our sick girl. And I was like, I love you, but I hate that. I was like, no. I don't like that, because, and that's why I always say like chronic pain condition, because to me, when I think ill, I think of like, she's ill. She's got the cold. She's like in the bathroom. She's like nauseous. She's like, she is ill and not looking cute. which is not true at all, even if you're having those things. But for me, it's like I want to be accurate about what it is. And for me, it's just like being in constant pain. So I started saying chronically ill and cute as a way to kind of make it not sound like a negative thing, because also people would be like, oh no, what's wrong? Are you okay?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, no. That is not what I want for the channel. So I started saying that, and I unintentionally think I found a really inclusive slogan, because it's not like I'm endometriosis and energetic. It's like chronic illness can relate to so many people, and and it has. And it's been so nice because the lovely community, like the sloths as I call them, they have all come forward and been like, hey, I don't have endo, but I have PCOS, or I have fibromyalgia, or I have POTS. I have so many different chronic illnesses. And even though we don't have the same thing, we can't say we share the exact same experience. We do feel chronically ill and cute. Like, hey, this is going on. It's important to acknowledge, but it's still cute. And we're not gross and yucky because we have something that's wrong, you know?
Well, I want to kind of focus in on the fact that there was a point early in your journey with being chronically ill and adorable and cute that you almost felt like you had to apologize. And considering, I mean, we live in a patriarchal society, so I think, you know, biologically female people, those with uteruses, feel that we have to apologize for everything.
Absolutely.
Especially even, like the natural processes of, you know, menstruating, or, you know, what it means to just go through our lives. And I think what I've found so lovely about Chronically Ill and Cute with your community is, one, I think you are, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that it seems that it's starting to transition from being like, I'm sorry that, you know, I'm going through this, to this is just a statement of where I'm at, and if you don't like it, you can get out. And speaking of sloths, because you use sloth as a symbol to your channel and what it means to live with a chronic illness, you why did you choose that as your mascot?
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that sloths are, I think they're adorable in an unexpected way, which I like. I like to think as myself. I like to feel like I'm hopefully cute, but like not, I don't know, in an unexpected way. Like I want to be myself. I don't want to be like anyone else. But mainly, I've always liked sloths. They're cool. But I didn't really attach to sloths so much until after my surgery, because after I found out I had endometriosis, so many things came together for me. And one of the things specifically was like, I always felt like I was a lazy person, because I would only have so much energy to do so many things. And I thought maybe I'm just putting too much energy out at once, and then I just would burn myself out. But I found always just being like, oh, you're lazy. You're just lazy. You just can't, you're just a lazy person. And that's what people think about when they think of sloths. They're like, sloths are lazy animals. They call sloth one of the 7 deadly sins. Like, it's bad. It's something you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be slow, lazy, and unenergetic. But what's interesting is the sloth isn't choosing to be lazy. The sloth is literally built to go at its own pace, which just happens to be slower than something like a cheetah. And you don't look at the cheetah and be like, you're going too fast. So for me, the sloth is like, I'm going at my own pace. If that's slow, then that's just how I'm built to be. And that's not lazy. That's just how it is. So that's kind of why I've added that as my symbol, because it's another way to not apologize. I think you absolutely nailed it when you said that. You know, specifically people who are born with like uteruses always apologizing. For me, that's something I'm still working on. As much as I try to not apologize for it, I definitely have situations, especially like when I was, you know, recently trying to compete in a lovely show called The Lost Race, which is hosted by Trong, amazing Animal Crossing and just content creator. So great. And I had an endometriosis problem that day, and I tried so hard to get through the stream and just push through, and I couldn't. And I felt so I felt so like disappointed and frustrated because it wasn't just a me stream with just my community who has seen me have other issues in the past and have, seen me be like, guys, I'm sorry, I have to cut it short today, or guys, I'm so sorry, I have to take a be right back. It was all of these new people who might not have known me, who might have been there from their other favorite creator that was participating. And I was just absolutely mortified that day and so upset and just being like, I'm so sorry, like I've ruined this. But then I had to take a step back after and be like, you can't, what am I saying sorry for? Like, I'm so proud of myself for making it as far as I did. And I think that I often have people say to me, like, it's so interesting that you are always in pain because I can't tell. And because you stream for like 5-6 hours. And you would think that someone who is always in pain wouldn't do that. And I'm always like, well, you shouldn't have like a preconceived notion of what you're not in my body. You don't know what I can handle and how much I have handled and wasn't even knowing I was handling for all of these years. So it's like, yeah, I'm still working on trying to not apologize for it. And sometimes I still do like, feel bad. There are people watching, especially if people have taken their time out of the day to do something. But at the end of the day, it's like, you can't apologize if it's raining outside. It's not up to you. I can't apologize if something is so bad that I can't sit here and do what I usually do.
Well, I think it's a really great practice, not only for you with not being apologetic, but I think it's also great practice for people who are watching to realize that they are not the base experience for humanity. So, our pain tolerances are different. Our day-to-day is different. Our experiences with with pain can vastly affect people in a different way. And so I think what I've really appreciated about Peyton's Corner is I honestly think that you are starting to really set a standard for representation for chronic illness, and that, other content creators who obviously I don't know, because it's honestly none of my business unless people are willing to share, but I'm starting to see a lot of other content creators and our content creator friends going, oh yeah, no, I have this condition and it sucks. And I'm going, holy moly. And I think we are starting to see, in addition to just the pandemic, where people have started realizing, wow, I have been experiencing burnout for years. And I think the opportunity for unfortunate events is that we have this opportunity for growth and to realize that, one, the industrial standards for productivity is absolute crap. And we need to just like remove that entirely. But also, we have so far to go with society with what it means to be accessible. And being accessible also means accepting that chronic illness is truly something that a huge portion of the human population experiences for whatever reason and whatever variety it is. And that we really need to start accepting a different way of approaching content creation and also just the day-to-day that people live with, which is actually a great segue, is what is the impact of stage 4 endometriosis on everyday activities and making content for your channel?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard, especially, I kind of like fell into the YouTube stuff. Like, it definitely was something I was just doing for fun, and then out of nowhere, it ended up doing well. And then all of a sudden, I was like, I can do this as a thing, perhaps. And so I'm still at the point where I do have a full-time job outside of YouTube. Very luckily, I do it remotely, so I don't have to commute, which is many of my issue, because my main problem that I have a lot of problems I face with my endo, but for me specifically, the main issue is like my abdomen is covered in this scar tissue, so it always hurts. Even right now, as I'm sitting talking to you, I'm shifting constantly and able to try to get myself as comfortable as I can be, and that's what I do during my streams as well. But yeah, especially with content creation and me trying to chase this like crazy YouTube goal of perhaps I can just do this at one point and I won't have to do other jobs in order to pay my New York City rent. So because of that, there is this like insane YouTube grind culture.
Yep.
And you hear so many people talk about it, but it's so true. It's like you stop posting for a couple days and then you come back, but it's like no one's there anymore. And it's like you always have to be like building and doing something. So for me, what's tough about it and what I've found tough about it is like I can't make promises to people that I can't hold anymore. So every week I post my stream schedule because it changes every week due to my work schedule that changes every week. But I used to say when I was going to be streaming and when I was going to be making videos. And I found that was always a really tough thing because the streams, I only had specific times during the week to stream just based off of my schedule, where videos I could make and do whatever. So I would always be like, I'm going to, do the streams at this time. You can count on me being there. But then I started to find myself being like, hey, the video is going to be this date, and this date, and then never being able to hold up to it because, okay, all of a sudden I had a really bad chronic pain day that I didn't expect. And now, so sorry, guys, you'll get the video on Friday instead of Wednesday. And I hated being like needing to tell people and update them because I know it's not a failure, but I don't like to tell people I don't like to tell people something and then be like, just kidding. So I found for me, what's easiest is be like, hey, this is the stream schedule. Videos will come as they come. I post like 3 videos a week. I stream 4 times a week. And I even, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. And I say to them, hey, the stream schedule is this, but don't believe it until you see the like stream thumbnail is there. And then even sometimes then I might have to push the stream back an hour because maybe I'm having like a really bad issue before the stream I wasn't anticipating. So very often I will say in my stream chat like 1 more hour, so sorry. But also everyone's chill with it at this point because they understand. So for me, it's about just finding when I feel okay to do it and not feeling bad about if I can't. So it's easier for me to just not always be so explicit about when things are going to happen. Like perfect example, I'm coming up to my 1 year of streaming and I know I want to do a really long stream, but I don't feel comfortable saying, hey, I'm going to do a 12-hour stream because if I get to the day before and I'm having a huge issue, then I have to be like, it's not that, it's going to be this. So I find that I kind of just do things as they come, still try to, make as much stuff as I can. But at the end of the day, just know like, hey, if you can't make that 4th video, you've already made 3 and streamed 4 times. I think it's okay. I think I'm already doing a lot more.
Yeah.
I think I'm already doing a lot.
I have to tell you, Peyton, I as I said, I can't imagine what it means to live with a chronic pain condition. So I feel that it's kind of a disservice to ask like on the scale of 1 to 10 how much pain you're in because I wouldn't be able to imagine. But
my scale would be different than yours.
Absolutely. And so, but at the same time, I feel you still match the same competitive expectations of somebody who does not have that going for you. And so I'm wondering, and I don't want to use the word genuine, but is it hard to output the amount of content that you do each week with your experience?
It's interesting because I mean, honestly, the content is a distraction most of the time from the pain. So it's obviously harder to stream than it is to make videos for me because that's happening live and, things change over the course of the 4 or 5 hours that I stream. Whereas a video, I could start filming it and be like, I'm not feeling good. I can't be in this chair right now. And then stop and then come back to it. And I can also film videos at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, which I do, absolutely. So maybe that's how I do it. But I find that, yeah, absolutely, it's hard, but it's the main distraction I have because I work from home. And because of that, my boyfriend works, I don't want to say a real person job, but like he goes to his job. And so I'm by he commutes. So I'm by myself for a lot of the day. And so I find that a lot of the day I'm sitting with, like, I'm just sitting and doing my thing, but I'm not that distracted where I'm not thinking about the constant state my body is in.
Yeah.
But when I'm streaming and I'm talking to everybody and I'm also playing a game, I find that I'm distracted. So it feels, I guess, easier to do than one might think. But I also find that what's easiest for me is, like, say today I'm feeling great. Maybe you film a couple of videos today instead of just one. Because if I say to myself, okay, I have to do this thing tomorrow, I might not be able to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of just the thing of, like, knowing, like, all right, today my body is feeling good. I'm feeling like I can handle things today. I feel like I can push through easier. So here's everything I wanted to do this week. How much of it can I do today? Or at least the filming aspect of it, because it's easier for me to, like, sit and edit it and, like, not be on camera, and I could be in pain and, like, have a heating pad and, like, you know, not care or worry so much. So yeah, it's definitely hard, but it's like this thing, like, of content creation has been the thing that being told that, hey, there has been this thing wrong with you for years. And every single time you felt like something was wrong and people told you that's just how it is, you were actually right. You were right. And there was something actually happening. And also, this is never going away. You didn't know this was a problem. Guess what? It's a problem and it's never going away. It's a lot. And I think it can be so easy to just, like, I like to say, like, curl in a ball and do nothing.
Yeah.
Just, like, curl in a ball in bed. Don't do anything ever, because what's the point? And so for me, doing this has made me feel like there is a point to, and there is something to do. And also, I think doing this has given me the confidence to be like, hey, I could stream for like 5 hours. Maybe I can go out and do XYZ thing that I like to do that I did before, and maybe not be so scared that, oh, now I'm chronically ill, so now I can't do the things that I used to do. So it's a good thing. It's definitely hard, but at the end of the day, it's like, this is the thing that I like to do.
So it sounds to me that you thankfully have the environment that allows for you, when you're able to do the amount of content that you strive for. And it seems that it is a constant check-in and a re-experiencing of acceptance for where you're at. And I think it almost sounds like you are really confronting not only the toxic expectations of content creation, like grind culture, but also the toxic expectations that have been ingrained in you since you started talking about your personal experiences. So where is that journey so far with you? Like, what are the toxic expectations that are still kind of just needling at you a little bit, if you're comfortable talking about it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that there are two expectations. I think it's someone with a new YouTube channel that posts a lot of content, and it's pretty clear. I think it's clear that I'm taking it as seriously as I can.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
It's like, oh, there's this girl. She posts almost every day. Expecting me to be there, posting almost every day. Oh, use Payton streams for a long time. I'm expecting a 4-hour stream, a 5-hour stream. It's that of, like, the expectation of, okay, she wants to do YouTube, so she's doing YouTube. And also the expectation of, oh, she's the chronically ill girl, so she's probably always okay talking about her chronic illness at length. And I think what's so great about my channel, and also just, like, chronically ill and cute kind of like encompasses this. It's like, yeah, this is a thing and it's cute, but it's not the end of the world. I never want my channel to feel like a scary, like how I felt looking at all of the support blogs. Like, I am there to be your support person. However, I don't want the space to feel like, I try to talk about my chronic illness in a way of being realistic, upfront, like, hey, it's not a great thing, but you're never going to hear me say, like, my life was ruined because of endometriosis on stream. Like, you're never going to hear that because I don't want someone to feel like the way I felt when I discovered other people who were chronically ill and they were like, my life was ruined. All of that scary stuff. So I feel like sometimes there is this like thing that I run up against of people opening up to me to tell me about their chronic illness experience. And I want to be there to listen. But sometimes it's like, you know, we're building a volcano in Animal Crossing today, and there's only, and I can only do so much. I'm not a doctor. And even though I have endometriosis, my endometriosis looks different than the 1 in 10 people that endometriosis affects. So I can't also be the person with answers. So I try to, you know, talk about chronic illness without my channel being the place to go for answers about chronic illness. It's more about, I'm a person with a chronic illness, but that doesn't define my life. That's not what the content is. That's not what I am. I'm not just the endometriosis girl. I'm a person living with endometriosis, and I'm figuring out a way to get through it. And it's going to be a fun time. And I'm showing you that, you know, you could still be positive, optimistic, and be cozy, and it's going to be okay. So I think there's people who expect me to do like the YouTube grind nonstop all the time, but then also people being like, no, you need to talk about this more, and you should, why don't you look sick? Like, it doesn't look like anything's wrong with you. What do you mean? It's weird. That's why I just kind of say, I'm chronically ill and cute. So this is what it is. Take it or leave it. Okay,
so
moving on.
That actually, I was thinking about this like late at night, because anytime before a Gamers Gab episode, I usually have like a two-sided conversation of like questions I have and then how you may possibly answer, because I'm weird like that.
Sure.
But
no, I do that too.
Oh, awesome. Great. I'm not alone.
Yeah, I'm a playwright. I'm always thinking of the answers.
So, I know that stage 4 endometriosis is a very big part of your life and your content. And it sounds to me like there's kind of this, I don't want to say that you're moving away from that being a defining part of Peyton's Corner, because that was the start. In the same way that I think a lot of people started content, myself included, with like, oh, medical trauma, this absolutely sucks. Here's a cute little like Animal Crossing build that I did. So is there, was stage 4 endometriosis kind of the stepping stone for Peyton's Corner, and you're looking to expand beyond that? Or is Chronically Ill and Cute going to be a continued defining part of Peyton's Corner? I don't know if I'm asking that question well.
No, sure. Yeah, it's interesting because like I start every stream by saying I'm chronically ill and cute. We have a command in my chat that will tell people there's a lot of misinformation about my specific condition. If you just Google endometriosis, it's going to be like, oh, you have bad cramps.
Oh my God.
Which is not that.
And bad periods,
I get bad periods too. Yeah, I'm sure you do, but it's different. So we have a command that links to what I think is an accurate website that will tell you about it and give information. So on my streams, that is very present and always there, but it's interesting because I don't know how to say that in my videos. So it's like, welcome to my Coral Island tips video. I don't know how to put I'm chronically ill and cute in that, but I don't want to not talk about that. I don't want it to not be a part of who I am, because it absolutely is. So it's kind of like a yes and. I want to show people, and especially like as I'm going through different parts in endometriosis, specifically like, you know, intense laparoscopic surgery recovery still, it's not a linear experience. And so there were some times I found that I talked about it less because I was feeling better. And then there were times where I'm not feeling good, so I need to talk about this because I can't go past it. So it's kind of like, I want to show people that this is here and this is important, and it's something I will always say and advocate for. But this is not my only character trait, because for a long time I felt like, you know, like I said, like people being like, "Oh, my sick queen." Like I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to just be like I'm Payton. It's like, yes, I have endometriosis. Yes, I'm chronically ill and cute. but I'm also a playwright. I'm also an actor. I'm also a girlfriend, a dog mom. I'm also a lover of watching like stupid baking shows on Netflix. Like there are so many other things. There are so many other things. And I think that I want to show people who have chronic illness that this is a part of you and you shouldn't hate this part of you, but also you are still you. Like one of my biggest things I hate that I find is said so much in the chronic illness community is you need to grieve your old life. When I was diagnosed and when I had my surgery, so many people were like, you need to grieve your old life. You need to grieve the old Peyton and accept that you're not her anymore. And I understand what they're saying. They're saying like, you need to not deny that you have this chronic illness that's not going to go away. You need to be okay with it. That's great. But I hate the idea of everything I was before June 2021, I can never be again because of something I can't change. And I think that is such like, I would say all of the curse words about it. I hate that because it's like, I think a lot of people would say to me, I can't believe you stream. Are you sure you're in pain all the time? And it's like I'm proving to not just myself, but to yes, like people are like I can't believe.
I'm sorry, you can't tell your own body being in pain. What?
Yeah, I'm like, do I need to show you like the scars from the surgery? Like, what do you mean?
Wow.
I think that's one of the things that comes a lot, like with chronic illnesses, where like mine, where I struggle sometimes with the term invisible illness because it's saying like, okay, you could look at me and see nothing's wrong. But I don't want it to feel like we're looking at someone who maybe does use like an ailment to get around or have something that makes them different. I don't want them to feel like, oh, we look at them and we could tell there's something going on. Yeah. So I don't always use invisible illness for that reason. I don't want it to feel like that. But seemingly people look at me and until I tell them, they wouldn't know that something's going on. But that's the case for everybody. So yeah, it's a lot of just like, I feel like I'm showing people like, yeah, you can still do things. You just might need to do them differently than you did before. Like your hopes and dreams in life don't need to be minimized because of something you can't change. So it's like, all right, maybe I'm not going to like go be a rockette or something like that. Not that I was going to be anyway before, but I can still be creative and make things for people. And right now, that is this, and that is what my body can handle, and that's great. But that's not to say that this is the only thing I'll ever be able to handle. So I guess that's what I want to show people too. It's like you don't need to grieve. Like you didn't die when you were diagnosed. Yeah. Like you just learned a lot more about yourself. Yeah. And you just got the tools to change things for the better.
From one, I'm not a playwright. I'm sure that EJ can probably say more on this, but I think that any character that is defined by one thing is just bad, lazy writing. And so it's always really important and crucial to have, if there's something that is truly defining about a person's experience with life, that there's so much that encompasses that experience. Because as you said, your chronic illness doesn't define you, but it is a big part of how you experience reality. And you have really, truly, I think, beautifully come to experience acceptance because Again, my experiences with medical trauma are incredibly different. And I was always really worried about, especially with talking with people with other medical traumatic experiences, that, I don't want to be like, oh, I totally understand. I don't. But I have to say that my journey with acceptance wasn't about, as you said, dying, but more about that. Acceptance for me is you come to realize that things aren't just happening at you, and that it's not just something that you have to bear the brunt of, that you have a huge part and role to play in your journey to healing, or sometimes it is being angry and being upset, but that doesn't mean that you lose all of those years of what defined you as a person. And I think this is, a really great segue to the final question that I have before we start wrapping up is, what do you wish people took into consideration regarding content creators with chronic illnesses, invisible or not?
Yeah, I think just, and you know what? I think this can be said with all content creators, not just chronically ill people, but I don't want to say lower your expectations, but like, remember that people are human beings.
Yeah.
I think that with YouTube culture specifically, I can only speak to YouTube as that's the platform I primarily exist on. But I feel as though content creators put such a pressure on themselves.
Yeah.
And they stop being human. So you might not have a chronic illness, but you might, need a day to like for your mental health to not be thinking about the next video, the next stream. So just have more patience with people outside of who they are on stream. While I think every content creator ever, I mean, I feel like I specifically try to be my most authentic self with you all, but it's also, I'm not showing you the days where I am really sad about it. And I will tell them like on those days, like, hey guys, like I'm not having the best day, but I'm happy to be here with you. Just know that like, it's not all as it seems all of the time. It's not always the most happy, energetic thing. People are people at the end of the day. And also in specific for chronic illness, I think being flexible with change and saying and knowing that like I might say, hey, this is going to happen at this point. But if it doesn't, to know that's not me not prioritizing the community and not wanting to do amazing and fun things for the community. It's me needing to be my best self to do those things. So like perfect example is like when I was on Sabotage League, specifically the season I didn't lose in the first round and I only had to do it once. For those streams, because I knew it was going to be such a big thing and it was going to be so stressful and I was going to be in so much pain during it, the whole 2 days before I would do nothing. I would I would work from the bed all day, every day. So just know that like, you don't see those things. You don't see me saying to myself, this stream is so important that it has to go right, that I am going to just do everything in my personal life to take it easy before that big event. Just know, like, I don't know. I feel like especially people with chronic illness, it's so easy to feel bad about canceling things or stopping a stream midway through. But just know, I feel like people who are chronically ill especially feel the need to want to do more. Just like, like pretend you're not chronically ill for a few hours on stream and just be energetic and super exciting all the time. And it's just, just know that it a lot goes into that. It's not like flipping on a switch and just turning on the camera and everything is always great. It's like at the end of the day, I mean, I specifically am always in pain. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I'm not like in excruciating pain at the current moment, but it is always still happening. Yeah. And while I don't want you to feel bad for me in any sense, just be kind to people no matter what. And also important, and you just kind of did this as well. Just because you don't have a chronic illness, just because you don't have stage 4 endometriosis, that does not mean that your pain is not valid. And so it took me a long time. Like, I was a little bitter after my surgery when people were like, yeah, I got cramps too. And I'd be like, not the same, but okay, love that. But now I want people to feel like, okay, so not to like plug my merch for a second here. Oh, absolutely.
No, I love the fact that you were wearing it. I was going to be like, is that a Peyton original?
Yes, I wasn't gonna wear it, but then I was talking about it on my stream and everyone's like, you have to wear it. But what's been cool about the merch is people will write me messages when they buy it and they'll be like, hey, I don't know if I'm chronically ill and cute, but I have really bad migraines and I have chronic migraines, or I don't know if I'm really chronically ill and cute, but I have this and I have this, and I know I don't have what you have, but I am also feeling so many of the things that you're talking about. And that is so valid. So like, I never want people watching to be like, oh, I didn't have to have a surgery. I don't have stage 4 endometriosis.
Mhm.
It's like, as a human being, every single thing you're going through is valid. It's there, and your struggles may look different than mine, but it's like, we're still in it together. And so, chronically ill and cute, it's not just like endometriosis specific type things, but it's like just people who have something going on that's chronic and you know, often seen as negative, being able to see it in a cute way. So seeing people who have bought it and have left me those notes and telling me about their experience has been just another way for me to realize, like, oh, let me remind everyone else, like, hey, you're important and you're seen. And even though our experiences are different, you're still allowed to have your pain and be open about it. And I'm still allowed to have mine without us needing to compare and like who has it worse.
Oh, well, and what a journey to compassion, right? Because I think a true like jumpstart to personally with my experience of like just becoming a better person in general, of like realizing that we need to start not only treating each other with compassion, but also treat each other ourselves with kid gloves, and realizing that, wow, I couldn't imagine. I can sympathize, and perhaps there may be an experience that is sort of kind of the same, but if I was in that experience, then I would like to be treated with that level of compassion that I hope that I try to treat others. And I think experiencing bitterness or the fear of becoming bitter and angry all the time has really, I think, led to a true, honest life. And Peyton, you don't need my validation, but I'm so incredibly proud of you. Like you're making
me cry. You were one of the first people to ever shout out my channel. You were the first, like one of the first people that I was like, oh, a famous Animal Crossing person knows I exist.
Oh my God, no. Peyton,
Yes.
No, well, and see, here's the thing about kindness is that I saw the way that you started working toward being unapologetic to where you were at. And I'm like, well, crap, if a person 10 years my junior can be like, screw you, I'm me. I'm like, well, crap, I can be that too. And so I was very inspired by just promoting people because of what you were doing. And I was like, I think that is brilliant. And that is the very least that I can do. So I don't want to treat this as inspiration porn, because I know that's another thing that chronically ill and, you know, just neurodifferent people have to deal with, is like, oh, they are doing the basic things to like live and survive. How inspiring. But I will say, Peyton, that the way that you have approached just content creation and facing a new chapter in your life has been beautiful, and I'm so proud of you. So just
Thank
like,
you.
yes,
that means the world. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and
that makes me feel just thank you for seeing that and acknowledging that.
And I remember, because I've been watching how you've been slowly, well, not slowly, but like you've just gone off, and I've been watching your content. I'm like, wow, you truly have an incredible voice, not just talking about chronic illness, but just the way that you present content, because I think stage 4 endometriosis has given you a new perspective of how to even look at games. And I wish I had the hindsight to even ask, like, how does chronic illness or what you experience with chronic illness affect your the way that you play and what you want to play? Actually, do you have the spoons to have that final question before we end?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I mean, whenever I review something, I think I'm always like giving people the context of like, hey, these are the kinds of games I like, and this is my opinion, blah blah blah. And every time I review a game, it's like I give the good and the bad, even if I don't like the game, or even if I love it. So I think for me, what I look for in a game is what I found in Animal Crossing. It's like, is this taking me out of remembering that I'm in pain all the time?
Yeah.
Am I feeling? That's what I like about cozy games. I mean, I like to play them in a chaotic way. Obviously, I would say my streams are more chaotic than cozy, and I'm like screaming all the time. But at the end of the day, it's like, is this game fueling me with a positive passion? I can't play something that's stressful. I can't. That's why you'll never see me play like a very shooty, fighty game. Something that makes my body specifically feel so tense.
Yeah.
Without having those releases, I can't do. And so I don't like those kinds of games. And so those aren't the kinds of games I play. I try to play games that are games that you can play. Whether you're like me and you're in pain all the time, or you're working like a crazy job and you're stressed out, you need to unwind, or you have like some kids that are being kooky all day and you just need a break from the crazy kiddos. To me, that's what cozy gaming is. It's I can just get away from it. And it's kind of the same thing I love about theater. For me, a good play and a good musical is something where I'm sitting there for the 2 hours and I am not thinking about what happened before. So for me, if I can be enthralled in something enough, whether it's a puzzle game and I'm just like fixing things, or it's a design game, or I'm trying to date all of the hot people in Coral Island, whatever it is, obviously, whatever it is that can bring me to something where I can't wait to play it. And if I'm playing a game and I'm thinking about something else, then that's not it. That's not it for me. If I want to quit, if I'm frustrated, I want to quit. There are too many games out there for that. I'm like, no, let's move on then. Let's move on and let's find something that makes me feel good.
Peyton, again, thank you so much for bringing your experience to Gamers Gab. Truly, it was a pleasure and a delight. And I will be putting all of the links for how our community can best support you. At the very least, because it's free, be sure to like and subscribe to all of Katie, of Peyton's good vibes. I know, I don't know, Peyton, whatever. Sorry.
Close enough. That's all right.
No, it's not okay. No, we have to represent you correctly. But before we end and move on to, because I know everyone's going to Sabotage League after this, we have to represent our besties for it.
Of course.
Who would you like to see on Gamers Gab, and what would the topic be?
Yeah, I was thinking about this before, and there are so many. I feel like you've already had everyone's been amazing so far. And I think you've already covered such a diverse amount of topics. And thank you for letting me be the person. I feel so honored that I get to be the person to
It was truly
speak about all of this.
Peyton, truly.
So thank you so much. I thought about this. There are so many people I would love to see, but I keep thinking about, I would love to see Iona on the podcast. I love Iona so much. And I think that I would love to hear. Iona is someone who has found wild success on both Twitch and YouTube, all while still being the most like unapologetic themselves there is. I think, honestly, Iona is someone I strive to be like, where she is just like she's got her own humor. She's got like such a voice, and I think that's hard to do to do in so many different places. And so the fact that she's found her community that will follow her no matter where she goes, I would love to hear her speak on that specifically. And also someone like her who you were very kind and said I have a very nice voice for games, but someone like her who plays 20 times more games than I do, I'm so interested to know like how does she pick what to feature for her community? Because she often says like, hey, I haven't shown this one on stream, but I've played this game, here's what I think. I wonder how she curates what she thinks her audience will like, but also what she wants to play as a human being that likes video games.
I have to agree. Have you been on any of her live streams? They're crazy.
I know. She's cuckoo in the best way.
Yeah, like she knows how to use a stream deck, let me tell you, because like her overlays with like the sadness thing, and so anytime like her community complains.
The sounds are so good. I first found her through being on Sabotage League, and I just clicked on her stream like, oh, let's see this person competing in Sabotage League. I don't know them.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop watching. I was like, I was like, I'm so enthralled, and
Yeah.
God, talk about having energy. I'm like,
I know. Couldn't
how?
imagine.
How?
Could not imagine. It must be a British thing, truly. So
It must be. It must be.
we lost it with the Revolutionary War and being
We
part
must
of
have. We
the
need
empire.
too much coffee to try and match that.
Yeah, we're not tea people, that's for sure. Well, I
No.
will definitely put that into the new year because I have a couple of people lined up, and I would love to have her. But Peyton, again, thank you so much. And friends, please be sure to do what you can. Buy the merch. The merch is adorable. And with that, friends, yes, do the little thing. Yes.
The little sloth.
Well, again, friends, thank you so much for watching. And please be sure to catch Peyton on her next live stream. Her videos are amazing. And we'll see you next time. Bye.